These are the Arctic Archives. I'm Josh Federico. Today I'm joined by Bob Schmidt. Bob worked as a biologist with the Alaska Department of Fish and Game for 11 years and now works with the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. In this episode, we talk about some of his adventures hunting brown bears on Kodiak Island, trapping wolverines in the interior, and whether or not grizzly bear meat is good for eating. Here's my conversation with Bob.
Yeah, it seems like every expedition something would happen. So yeah, there's there's some
Plenty.
stories.
I feel like anyone who's getting out regularly eventually starts to accumulate stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I did one bear hunt and it ended up being a circus. Just like
right.
nothing went the way I planned it to go. Like it worked out, but at the end I got done. I was like, holy cow, that could have gone wrong so many times,
Oh yeah,
so many different
it
ways.
could have.
So I was
Yeah,
just last.
listening to your story there. Yeah, you made some of the same
Yeah.
mistakes that I did. That's I guess it's trial and error. You learn,
Yeah,
but
I'm just glad it worked out because it might not have, so it could have gone differently. Um, but
yeah,
yeah, so I know you mentioned you did, I guess I did similar thing to you when you were hunting on Kodiak with your bear.
yeah. So yeah, we all get you put a lot of time and money and whatever into a trip and you want to be successful, so uh that leads to maybe some poor choices. But
Yeah,
even with that being said, even if it's maybe a good choice, one little thing can make everything go south.
yeah,
So
for sure.
anyways, what happened with us was yeah, it was like a 2 week hunt. We were, I don't know, 3/4 of the way through. We'd passed on a few bears and finally saw a pretty good one. It wasn't, a 10-footer, but it was a good bear. And But it was, yeah, it was far away, and it was like pushing. It was already kind of getting late in the day, and but we made a stalk, and we got close-ish to it. We tracked it to the side hill
Mm.
that, and that's where we last saw it. And there was the way Kodiak is, especially the south end. There's these alder patches everywhere, and then other than that, it's pretty open. Tundra, whatever. And so we knew it was in this alder patch, and we had a good um, vantage point from down below. And but it was like a little over 200 yards to the bottom of it, and like 300 yards to the top of it, and then then it
Okay.
was side to side. And I was using a 375 H&H,
Okay.
Kodiak. I brought a big ass gun, but
Yep.
that doesn't shoot the best, super long distances.
Yeah.
So ours is pushing it. I wanted to get closer, but we really couldn't because then didn't have a good vantage point. But I told my buddy, I'm like, if it comes out to the left or to the right or below, no problem. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a long shot if it comes out above. And, so we just had to wait it out. And eventually it came out on top.
Okay.
Dang it. But it was kind of now or never. So um, we line up. I had him shoot with me. Like I shot first and he shot right after me. And ideally, what they say on Kodiak, I'd say, I guess, with any bear hunt, especially, grizzly, like let it get plenty far away from the alders so you have a follow-up shot if you
Yep.
don't kill it outright. Well, every step it was taking, it was getting more and more out of range. So it was just barely out of the alder bushes, 10-ish yards probably. And I was like, you know what? It's standing in a broadside. Like, now's the time.
Yep.
So we shot, And as soon as we shot, it went ass over tea kettle right back into the bushes. Damn, exactly what you don't want
Yep.
to happen. So we waited and we waited and we waited, and eventually we heard some like groaning in there and like bushes, moving around. So it's like, well, it ain't dead, dang it.
Yeah.
Um, but we couldn't see it, so we could hear it, but we couldn't see it. And so, and then you put your scope up, and all you see is
Yeah. Yep.
bushes. Like you kind of knew where it was, but you put your scope up, and all you see is bushes. So it's pushing dark. It's like, I don't know, hour and a half till dark, and we're at least an hour from camp hiking. And so we each fired a couple rounds. It's just like silly like stuff. Like what are you thinking? But
Yeah.
it's just we want to get this bear dead, and it's supposed to rain tonight. It's gonna wash away any blood trails, that kind
Yep.
of thing. Anyways, we started shooting at the bushes where it was moving, even though we couldn't like definitively see the bear. And anyways, we each fired I think one or two rounds, and it stopped. I'm like, oh, we must have got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I had enough common sense, like to not just hike in there blind. So where we were standing below, we had a really good vantage point. And so I said to my buddy, I'm like, you stay here. I'm going to flank up the left side of it. That's kind of where it was closest to, was the left side. And you kind of guide me in. So I'll, hike up a little bit and kind of check in with you, like if I'm at the right, if I'm far enough up or whatever. And so, yes, that's what I did. I started hiking up. Uh, I go like 10, 20 yards, like, how are you looking? He's like, you good? Keep going, keep going. I finally got to a spot, and he's like, well, it should be right about there. He's like, go in. So I turn in and start going into the bushes, and I'm like, here? He's like, yeah, keep going. So I went kind of to the edge of the bushes, and I peeled open the bushes, kind of like a curtain
Yeah.
because it was so thick. And I was like, oh, there it is. So it was like laying behind a log. All I could see is the top of its back. But I'm like, well, I better fire around in there just in case before I outright hike in. So I again very thick. All I could see is the top of its back. I fire around, and as soon as I do that, it gets up and comes at me,
Oh.
full force.
Oh.
And so whatever happened, that bullet didn't hit good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I hit it in the hump or if I just didn't hit it at all. I don't know.
Right.
I didn't hit it good. And anyways, it came at me, full speed, and I went to shoot again, and the gun went click. It didn't go off.
Ooh.
And I'm like, this is all happening super quick. I'm like, oh God. And so I thought about like throwing the rifle and going for my handgun, but I don't know, some instinct in me is like, no, just like recycle and shoot again. So that's what I did. I recycled, and I shot again. And at that point it was on me.
Yeah.
People are like, well, how close was it? I'm like, well, how long is a gun? 3 feet? Like, that's how close it was.
Holy cow.
So I pull the gun up, and all I see is brown, and I shoot. And as soon as I shoot, it hits me, and we go rolling down the hill together. And I remember kind of like getting thrashed, rolled down the hill or whatever, and I get my bearings and all my shit that's on me, my binoculars and scope caps and stocking cap. It's all like scattered
everywhere.
A line of stuff like for me rolling, and I find the gun, and that barrel's all jammed full of mud, and I look, and the bear's beyond me like another 10 yards or so, and it's like feet up in the air, and it takes like one breath, and it just, I can like see that it dies. And
Holy cow.
so I get up, and it's again thicker than heck. And my buddy's like, well, first I get up and I'm like, I'm okay. And he's like, where's the bear? I'm like, I'm okay. He's like, where's the bear? I'm like, I'm okay, but where's the effing bear? I'm like, I'm
Right.
like, the bear's there. I'm good. And so then, he comes up to me and I'm hurting. Like it rolled over the top of me. I think I folded it and it
Oh, holy cow.
like rolled like right over me. So
Yep.
my knee was hurting. My hands were all full of like rose bush thorns, and yeah, and then the bears laying there dead, and all that um time. I'm like, well, how like it seemed like a bit to me that
Yep.
this all like took, and he said from the time you fired that first shot, so when you said I'm okay, it was about 30 seconds.
But to you,
That's how
it felt like forever, probably.
felt like forever. But he said, yeah, the whole thing was about 30 seconds. And so, anyways, once we start, messing with it and um, butchering it or whatever,
Yeah.
cutting it up with me, that shot, that second shot that I took at like
Yep.
3 feet. It was just luck, I guess. I hit it. It went right through the mouth and out the brainstem is where that bullet went.
Holy cow.
And there was and then there was two more holes that I remember. There was one like kind of far back, like midsection, that angling like back towards its hind quarter, which I'm guessing was my very first shot.
Oh, so you
And it was
got shot at it first.
I got shot at it, and then there was another hole in his foot. So that must be where my buddy hit him when he shot. And then that time where it was laying behind the log, that I hit it. If I did, it was just a flesh wound.
Right.
So, yeah, and then like that shot, I missed, and then I think what happened with the gun was I think I short stroked the cartridge.
Okay.
So I don't think I don't think I went back far enough with the bolt.
So yeah.
To pick up a new shell. I don't know for sure to this day, and I never will. But people that know a lot about guns and what happened, and how quick, and that's kind of the guess.
Yeah.
It could have been a dud. It could have been a dud shell. Like I don't know, but I'm guessing it was a short stroke of the bolt. Yeah. But I guess I'm glad I stuck with the rifle, and handguns aren't as accurate, and, whatever. So
do you think you would have had time with the handgun?
Probably. I mean, I guess it's hard to know what you even mean by that, like time. Like, I think what would have happened was it would have got a few licks on me before, like, it would have made contact.
Yeah.
Like, but who knows? Like, it could have, messed me up even when it was quote unquote dead rolling down the hill. I mean, one claw to the neck wouldn't be good. And,
yeah, totally.
I was covered in blood the way it was, which was all bear blood. Because it splattered on me. Shot it was so close. If I would have went rolling down the hill with it together, I good. So maybe I would have got. I don't think I would have got a accurate shot off before contact with the handgun. We'll just say it that way.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about. So when it hit you, did it like how did it hit you? Did it swipe you or just run into you when it made contact?
And into me, so I think again what happened was it was so close, again, like right up the end of my gun.
Yeah.
I think I folded it. Like obviously that shot was dead, but you like chop a chicken head off, it's flapping.
Oh.
So yeah. I think it was dead, but it's momentum and muscles, and it folded it. It like.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yep.
Like object in motion station, so I folded it and just kind of took me out on its path as it was coming. It was barreling downhill at me,
and then rolled over you.
And it rolled over me.
My goodness, what did that feel like? The weight of a bear on top of you.
Yeah, I don't really remember that part, like, like suffocating or anything. I think it
Yeah.
was just it was so quick. Like it like my knee was messed up. My buddy had to actually pack the hide back because I couldn't because my leg was messed up.
Right.
And but I don't even know if that happened from the bear, rolling over me or just twisting wrong with all
Yeah.
that quick. And it was, like I said, it wasn't a 10 foot. It was a little bit. So it ended up being a sow. I thought it was a
Okay.
boar, but it was an old sow. It was a little bit over 8 foot. Um, and she was like 30 some years old, or no, how old was she? She was 20, mid-20s.
Okay.
So
That's
she
an
was an
old
old,
bear. Yeah.
yeah, she was an old bear. She was a big old sow. So she was full of scars, her face. So she was a good bear.
Yeah.
People go to Kodiak and shoot 10 foot boars. I mean,
Yeah.
she wasn't that. She was a nice bear, and I tell you what, she was big enough to roll over me.
Yeah. No, I'd
I
be
don't.
happy with that for sure, especially with the story. Did you get her rugged?
Yeah, yeah. Larry actually did it,
Oh, did he?
and
Cool.
yeah, and the skull. He spent more time on that skull than most taxidermists would. Like he glued it back up the best he could. So the one whole like piece of the lower jaw is missing.
Wow.
It's got like 4 teeth total in it,
Wow.
and it's big hole in the back of its head.
Right.
But then a lot of like even like the main part of the skull was just like shattered because it just blew.
Yeah.
But he glued a lot of that back together. So like even with what I have is because he put a lot of work into that skull.
Yeah, that sounds like Larry. He's such a cool guy.
Yeah.
That's cool. Man, that's at least you were more thoughtful about how you did it than I was. You didn't just like charge in first thing after the bear. You at least waited a little bit. But I mean, I thought about that too after my hunt last year. The bear goes into the brush. Like, what do you do? Like, if you pursue, there's the risk. It could go the way yours did or worse. But then if you don't, you just give up the bear. I mean, it's like, what do you do
Yeah.
besides go be careful,
Yeah. I mean, that's just it. Like people ask, what if you could have done differently? Well, I could have not shot that bear, period. And then once
Yeah.
I did, I could have not went after it. Either would have resulted in me not probably getting a bear on that trip.
Mm.
And the second option, that's a wounded bear that maybe would have crawled left and died
Yeah.
somewhere, which I don't.
Yeah.
So it's a crappy situation, and I mean you shouldn't go into the bushes. You just shouldn't, but
Right.
sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
And they say to like, yeah, let it get far away from the bushes, and I should have, but with doing that it would have been more out of range.
Yeah.
And so it's,
Yeah.
I don't know, when you get older and wiser, maybe you'd be like,
Like pass on
yeah,
it,
a few
maybe. I don't know.
$1,000 is a few $1,000, but at that point, it was my first trip. That was my first trip to Kodiak, and yeah, so it was.
Yeah, older and
But
wiser. I think I'm not. I hope I get there, but I think at this point I would still have a hard time not trying to recover a bear or just not taking a shot, especially if it was the last day or close to it. I mean, that's maybe the right thing to do, but it's tough, invested in going
yeah,
out there.
we had like, I don't know, 3-4 days left, but there was more weather that was supposed to come in. Like
Yeah.
it probably was potentially our last hunting day. Like the next day that we finished packing it out, it was totally socked in, miserable. Like you couldn't hunt it because the way you hunt there is you get on ridges and you glass,
Okay.
and if it's all socked in and raining, you can't see to hunt. So
Yeah.
that was a lot of our days there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and
That's
yeah, bears are bears are fun, but they can. It's kind of, that's part of bear hunting is you're not you're not the top of the food chain, and that just and adds this extra layer of excitement
Yeah, totally. I totally
or
agree.
adventure or adrenaline, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe that's partially why so far that's been my funnest hunt. And the one I look forward to the most is bears. Like everything else is cool. But I don't know, bears are awesome. That's kind of the one I look forward to the most this next year. So would you use a different gun than the 375 next time or or would you bring that
Um.
again?
So so that was actually a friend's gun that I borrowed because
Mm,
I didn't even have a quote unquote really good bear gun at the time. I now have a 300 Weatherby, which I would trust bringing.
okay.
Any anything less than that, I wouldn't. I do think, and like hunting in the interior, I think like a 300 is fine. I think that's minimum for any kind of grizzly bear hunting is a
Mm,
300, in
mm.
my opinion, or something equivalent to that. Uh, but for Kodiak on an actual bear hunt, that's uh that's a pretty good gun,
Yeah.
and there's actually a book I would highly recommend reading, or for anybody to read. It's called Last of the Great Brown Bear Men.
Okay.
It's uh it's by Bill. Well, I don't know who actually wrote it, but it was there was two famous guides on Kodiak. They hunted, they guided from like the 30s until like the 70s, roughly, maybe
Okay.
the 40s to the 70s. And there's actually a guy in Fairbanks that just retired, uh, that packed for them. That he retired from guiding a while ago now, and then he worked for Fish and Game,
Okay.
and just retired from there at 80.
Yeah.
But he guided
Huh.
on Kodiak, um, for bears. Then he would guide in the Brooks Range for sheep,
Mm.
and anyways, and he would talk a lot about that 375 too, and those two guys, so their names that just came to me. It's Bill Pinnell and Morris Tollefson or something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I'll look that up.
Tollefson. Yeah, it's got like a yellow cover, and anyways, it's all this like bear hunting and Kodiak that they did, and they have their clients out of the top 20 in the Boone and Crockett book. Their clients are about half of them
Oh my goodness.
that. So they guided a lot of big bears, and like there's a picture in there with a bear hide rugged out on a barn, on the front of a barn or building, and there's two guys standing next to it. One guy standing on the ground, and then one guy standing directly above him on a ladder,
Yeah.
and the bear is still taller.
Oh my goodness. Ooh, I'm curious. We're
Um,
curious what he squared.
yeah, well, it had to be over 12 feet.
Yeah.
Figure.
Two 6 foot
Uh,
guys.
yeah. Um, so anyways, but yeah, so that's and then obviously technology has changed a lot. I mean, those guys and ballistics, all that,
Yeah.
those guys were tough. I mean, they had all freaking canvas heavy gear and
Yeah.
probably hunting in like blue jeans.
Yeah.
um and so yeah, I don't know if I would um bring a different gun or not. Kodiak's its own beast. I actually had another encounter with bears on Kodiak on a different hunt.
Ooh.
I've had bad luck down there with but yeah, so I was on a goat hunt, and high in the mountains, we got dropped off at a high alpine lake. Super cool hunt.
Mm.
Um Super cool pilot. I've used him a couple times now. He's the same one I used on the bear hunt. Willie, I don't remember his last name. Kodiak Air Service is what his business is called.
Okay, cool.
Um and Yeah, so the bears, that was in the fall, like late September. Bears are all supposed to be down on the salmon streams. We
Yeah.
were up in the mountain looking for goats, and there's just bears everywhere. And of course, I've got some PTSD from
Yeah,
the
for sure.
previous deal. So We for the most part able to avoid them, but eventually I got a goat, and it was late in the day. Um, got it. All I had time for was before dark was to field dress it, get the guts out, and then I moved the carcass a ways away from the gut pile, and not ideal, but sometimes that's just
Yeah.
how you got to do it. So came back the next day and got up to the carcass, and we're starting to work on it. And then, well, right when we got to it, we were like, "Oh, there's been a bear here," but it wasn't like we didn't see it.
Yeah.
Like we no sooner started cutting up, and there's this bear like 50 yards away from us, 40, 50 yards, and it starts like circling, and it continues to circle and like move in closer on like every circle. It's like, oh
Oh
God.
man.
And so my buddy brought his rifle to the kill site. I just brought my handgun because less stuff to carry with packing.
Sure.
And I was like, well, I don't know, shoot at its feet. First we yelled at it to try to get it to go away, and it
Right.
didn't care. And then we shot at its feet, and it just starts like dancing and like picking up its feet, like when a dog has like cold paws,
Huh.
and continues to come closer. It didn't care about that either. And finally made a judgment call. It's like, if that thing, like, you've got um a, to a degree, you've got a legal right to like protect your meat, um but it was more about safety too at that point, which you
Yeah.
absolutely have a right to protect your, because it just kept getting closer and closer and closer.
Hmm.
And finally at like 15 yards, it's like, you're gonna have to kill that bear. And he didn't want to, my buddy. And I finally talked him into it, because it's like it's getting closer. Like, where are we gonna go? Like, we're on the side
Yeah.
of a mountain and circling us. And um so yeah, eventually he shot it and killed it. And so then we got that thing. Um, we we got at that and drug it like downhill to an easier spot where we could get to it, and then finished on the goat, packed the goat back, and it's like, well, now we gotta deal with this bear. That sucks, because it
Yeah.
was
Right.
like 3 miles back, like uphill, and the pack was hard and exhausting, and the weather. Oh, we almost got. Well, on the way back, we saw a bunch more bears, which was leery, but they left us alone.
My goodness.
But then that night, the weather, like, it was like 60-mile an hour, like straight line winds and rain. And
Holy cow.
my tent, we were each in our own tent. My tent got leveled, and my buddy's tent made it, but it was like flooded and everything wet, and it just got bad. And then so we're kind of wet and exposed, and it was still crappy the whole next day. So I was in contact with Fish and Game in Kodiak about all this, like what was happening. Because you got to report
Right.
that. It's called a defensive property when that happens. And I'm like, I don't know if we can get back to get that bear. And he's like, well, you gotta, which he's right. I mean,
Yeah.
I was a biologist too for Fish and Game at the time, and it's like, yeah, I mean, you have to make every reasonable effort. So, anyways,
Yeah.
2 days later, the weather finally cleared enough that we made a run at to go get that bear. And we got, what were we? I don't know, half mile, between a quarter and a half mile from it, and put it in binoculars. And once you know it, there's another bear
No
eating on
way.
the bear.
No way.
It's like, no, no, we're not doing that.
Endless
Like,
cycle of bears.
yeah, and it's like, Fish and Game is gonna have to understand. And and um so we left it, and we got flown up the next day. And and then we got out and had the troopers interviewed us as well as the biologists. And yeah, they totally totally got it. We didn't get cited or anything. It was totally justified what we did. And they were having bear Armageddon in town too. So they were having like they had a bear break into a guy's pantry like in town, and the guy
Mm.
shot it
Whoa.
pantry with like food, like it was like raiding the cupboards, and it was a
Holy
big one
cow.
too. It was like a 10-footer, the one that got shot. So
In
they were
town.
like
Wow. Wow.
in town, like the guy like got his family upstairs and like locked him up, and then went and shot this bear in his pantry. So
Classic.
they 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 it's not that they didn't care about our bear, they did, but
Sure.
they were up to their eyeballs in bears too,
Yeah.
and so they got it. And then like we we went fishing at this creek like along the road. We had a couple of days left.
Yeah.
Went fishing, did some coho fishing along one of these roadside streams down there. I don't remember the name of it. And we actually borrowed some bear spray from Fish and Game, because I was like,
Hmm.
I don't want to kill any more bears,
Yeah.
and I want to have protect.
Right.
And there was bears everywhere by the fishing stream. Like we pull up and people are like honking horns at the bears to like get them to leave, and they laughed. So then we went fishing, and it was all good. We had our bear spray, and once you know it, like pretty soon there's a bear like 30 yards across the stream from us, just like hanging out, staring
Right.
at us. And this is dumb. I'm so sick of bears.
Right. This is the
So
same year as your hunt or following
yeah,
year.
same. Yeah, this was like 2, 3 years. This was like I think 4 years after the bear hunt.
Okay.
But so yeah, the goat hunt was like 4 years after the bear hunt.
Okay. Yeah.
The but all this like on the mountain and then the fishing, that was all
Yeah.
the same,
The same.
the
Okay.
same goat hunting trip. And so yeah, so that trip, we to sum it up, so we had to kill a bear because it was trying to get us and our goat. Then there was another bear trying to eat that bear, or was eating that bear, and we saw, I don't know, we probably saw 20 bears. I think I saw more bears on that trip than my actual bear hunt.
Yeah, that's what it sounds
Um,
like.
and then we got to town, and bears everywhere around town, a bear messing with us while we were fishing. It was this one bear, like that was like one of the few times where I had enough wilderness for a while.
Yeah, which seems like hard to get to that point. How is it possible to see enough bears? You're like, okay, I don't want to see bears anymore. So,
Yeah.
because like in the interior, obviously they're here. I don't see them that often. I don't know. I feel like if you're in the right place, I've heard people do see them a lot, but for a lot of places, it's wooded. Like you have to bait them to get them out to come out or whatever, so you don't see them that often. But it sounds like on Kodiak, maybe there's a different vibe going on.
Yeah, Kodiak's a different vibe. They're in town all the time, and it's the Alaska Peninsula. They same deal, like king
Hmm.
salmon and like Cold Bay. There's bears a lot. Um, Southeast Alaska, somewhat to an extent too, but that's wooded, so they're more so. They have a lot of trouble bears still that are
Oh,
in town and trapped and whatever, but you don't really see them per se when you're just out like
yeah,
driving the roads because it's
right.
so big trees. But like yeah, if you're in Kodiak in the open, like you talk to anybody that's been down there deer hunting or whatever, like they saw some bears on their trip. It's a matter of how many versus like in the interior, and I've been out moose hunting, caribou hunting. Like I've probably seen a handful of like both grizzly and black bears.
Yeah,
Total of all my trips hunting in the interior,
yep.
and usually far off. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, Kodiak's just a different. So like going after those black-tailed deer in Kodiak,
Oh yeah,
it's like you could bring it probably a 223 to be fine
yeah,
for those friggin' deer, but definitely a 243 or 270 would be a great deer gun, but absolutely not. You don't want to go deer hunting in Kodiak with anything that is too small for a bear, because the
yeah.
odds of you having to kill a bear are decent.
Very high. Interesting.
So, yeah, even if you're just deer hunting down there, I'd say you want a minimum 30 six, but
Really.
probably even bigger.
Okay. I've been told too, just my shot placement was bad just with the situation last spring. But I've been told try to break the shoulder more than trying to go for the vitals with the first shot to slow them down so that they're not running off because obviously they can run a long ways even with a heart shot. So I'm curious maybe see or
You
talk to
know,
more people or see what the advice is on that.
yeah. So funny. So that guy I told you that worked for those famous bear
Mm,
guides that went to go work for Fishing Game that's in
yep.
Fairbanks. He's like 80 now. That guy. He he actually he put on a bear. He's got a few DVDs about like different hunting strategy, and he put on a
Okay.
bear hunting class and filmed it. And I don't know if I totally agree with this, but he says in there, especially with a grizzly, if you're not going to salvage the meat, he's like wanting, and especially if you're using a big, powerful gun,
Yeah.
he's like, he's like wanting your, but not even if you're using you don't even have to have a big, powerful gun. I guess you just got to be a little more accurate.
Mm.
Nonetheless, his story, what he says is his favorite shot is right up the poop chute
Oh, really?
because it just does maximum damage. He's like, even if you can have it like quartering away,
Yeah.
like if you hit it like in the hind quarter, but the bullet like travels up into the cavity.
Right.
Um, he also likes that shot. Versus
Interesting.
mine was kind of the opposite. I hit it in the guts, and then it like traveled toward the hind quarter, so it would have been better the other way
Yeah.
around.
Other way around after it. Okay. Interesting.
Um,
Huh.
but yeah, so I don't know. Like that's kind of a small.
Yeah. It's
Like
small target.
if you aim right for the ass and hit it like in the quarter, if you
Yeah.
really get it right in the bone, yeah, that'd be
Sure.
awesome. But I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, bears are different, right? Like, is with a moose, you don't want to hit it somewhere where you're going to waste a bunch of
Yeah.
meat. But if you're not, versus, I mean, I do recommend to people to at least try grizzly bear meat. I mean, all the years working for Fish and Game, so many people never even tried it, and
Hmm.
a lot of them that did. So I don't think you should rule out 100% going into without ever trying grizzly bear meat that you're not going to salvage any of it.
Hmm.
But nonetheless, is in most areas at least you don't have to. So if you do shoot it in the shoulder, the hind quarter, it's not as big of a deal as it is like a
Yeah.
moose.
I was going to ask you
And
too if how much grizzly you've yeah, I assume you've tried grizzly before and what you thought of it. I've only tried uh, a very little bit and it was a ham, so I don't know if that really counts because it's got all the other flavors in it. But what did you think of grizzly meat?
um, so I've tried it a couple times myself. I think a ham as well, and then actually on that Kodiak bear, um, we took out the back straps. That's
Oh,
that's all we took, and hiked it back, and it was pretty good.
really?
My buddies they even more. I was okay.
Uh,
But like I remember we had that and some Bush's baked beans like over the fire,
Nice.
and but so they say with even black bears, but especially grizzly bears, like if it's eating fish, it's
Right,
going to be way worse. If
right,
it's eating vegetation, blueberries, it's going to be pretty good. So on Kodiak, you would think to never ever try a bear because it's eating fish, but
right.
this bear was in the spring, so it hadn't had a
Oh,
chance to eat
yeah.
fish yet.
Okay.
And this pilot, Willie, he's been in Kodiak for 30 years, and we told him that we tried some of it, and he couldn't believe it that we tried some, and he
Really?
more so couldn't believe that we liked it. Like he's like, "You're kidding! You ate some of that and you liked it?
Uh,
Ah, nobody does that." Like he couldn't believe it. So I whatever. Yeah, so the little bit that I've had, it wasn't bad. Like Stefan, another friend that like really
mhm.
likes eating grizzly bear.
Yeah, you
Um,
insist on that.
um, so I think it's personal preference. Like a lot of native tribes don't eat any kind of bear. Actually, it's some kind of religious thing that
Oh,
they don't like eating bears.
hmm.
Um, but like talking, working at Fish and Game, I get to talk to a lot of seasoned Alaskans, trappers, hunters, curmudgeony old people that have been
Sure.
around forever, and some of them, yeah, really liked it, and especially the ones that were eating um blueberries and
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And pretty much the consensus was, though, with anybody I've ever talked to, if it's eating fish, even a black bear, like,
Yeah.
nah, no thanks.
Which is that's what I'd expect, and I'd heard that too, but it makes sense being a spring bear, maybe just coming out of the den and it hasn't obviously the salmon haven't run yet. I hadn't thought of that making a difference.
Yeah, I was surprised that how good it was, but yeah, it hadn't had a chance to eat salmon, so I imagine that same bear would have probably tasted very different in the
Yeah,
fall.
I would think. I would think. So that's
But
cool.
yeah, I'm sure if you looked at some records, which those are all available from Fish and Game, I would bet very few people, if any, are salvaging coastal
Mm,
bear meat, and interior bear meat, probably like a 40% salvage rate. At least some meat, because when you get a bear seal, you got to ask if you
yep.
salvage meat.
Right.
And that's what I'd like to encourage from people, is at least try it. It would always kind of tick me off. I mean, they didn't break any laws, but working
Mm,
for Fish and Game, it's like, did you salvage any meat? No.
right.
Why not? I heard it wasn't good. You
Yeah.
heard. Well, come on. Like, how hard is it to cut out a backstrap and try it for
Just
yourself?
try it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that's something before I had moved up here. I had always just the same thing, just assumed grizzlies aren't good to eat. Never really knew why. It's just everyone kind of said that. And then after being up here talking to some people are like, no, it's fantastic meat. So yeah, it's a rumor to be dispelled, I think, the grizzly meat.
Yep. I think so. I think
Mm,
you can try anything, and most things won't. I don't think there's any meats that would kill you.
yep.
Like, people really like porcupine. I've never tried that either, but people
Okay.
really like porcupine.
Huh.
And I've heard some people that are fine with beaver. They really like beaver.
Hmm.
I've heard of people even eating things like raccoon, muskrats,
Yeah.
and I don't remember what they said of how it tasted. I was on a float trip uh, over in the eastern Alaska range, uh, floating out of the mountains, and we shot a wolf.
Oh, cool.
And my buddy, I'm like, I want to try some of this meat. Like, I want to say that I did this.
Yeah.
So we tried some wolf meat, and that was mind over. That's a lot of these weird meats, right? Like, if somebody
Yeah.
gave you some porcupine and you didn't know it was porcupine, you might think it's quite good. But if
Right.
you knew it was porcupine, you'd like curl your nose up before you even start it.
Yeah.
And that was with the wolf. It's like, this is weird. We're eating wolf. People don't eat wolves. Like, eat your dog.
Eating a dog. Yeah.
Um, so I had to get that image out of my head, which I never fully did. But anyway, and then plus wolves can carry trichinosis,
Oh, sure.
and so we took like a little chunk of backstrap and just charred it, pretty much burnt it like over the fire, like on a stick, like. And at that point, how I would describe it was like any other burnt chunk of meat is what it tasted like.
I would imagine. Yeah. If you cook it long enough.
And Steve Rinella, Meat Eater, he's got an episode where they eat coyotes.
What's the
Um,
feedback?
you really gotta know how to prepare them to make them taste
Yeah.
good.
Interesting. I think so. I have tried mountain lion long, long time ago, and it was like a really lean pork. So the only real downside was just the thought of, okay, I'm eating a cat. This is a little bit odd, but otherwise it was just like a lean pork, a
Which
white
I
meat.
think is I think is probably pretty similar
Yeah, I would
to what you're.
imagine. I would imagine. So we'll see how the winter goes for us. We haven't caught any lynx yet this year.
Yep.
So a buddy of mine here he got a wolf like a month ago and just trapped a wolverine like a few days ago. So, which those two, like, we're definitely going for lynx, but if I could trap anything, I think it'd be a wolverine. There's some pretty cool animals.
That that's what I thought going into it, and I actually ended up doing really well on Wolverine. Like, I got
Really?
it figured out and dialed in. Like, I caught, I don't know, 5, 6 Wolverine my time up
Wow.
there.
Okay.
Um, and I just wanted one, and then I just kept catching them,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
uh,
Good
yeah,
problem.
they're yeah. I think I probably caught more wolverine than lynx. I caught,
Really?
I don't know, 4 or 5 lynx, and they caught at least that many wolverine, if not more.
Holy cow.
Um,
Huh.
and
Well,
I only want one for my wolf. So then I sold the rest, and you get a
yeah.
pretty good. When we sell them on the taxidermy market, you get like $500 or so for them, plus
Oh,
like a
wow.
hundred and something for the. And
Okay.
the best, well, not the like the easiest way to catch them is just some real stinky bait in a box with a 330.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty easy, but
Hmm.
I had them be leery of that. I caught a couple that way, but the way I caught most of them was in snares, which are incredibly hard to hold in snares. I was catching them
Whoa.
in wolf snares. I was trapping kind of down by Black Rapids a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
which is where I caught them, and I would like find a clump of trees or alders, and I'd throw like all my like caribou hide and like the
Yep.
carcass, like all the scraps I would save, and you shoot a caribou in August or September, so I'd put it in a bag out in the shed, and it gets real stinky and
Yeah.
maggoty, and then come winter you cut chunks of that off, and that's what you use in your boxes.
Yep.
But but the big bits of it, like your rib cage or your hide, maybe the neck, like everything after you cut all the meat off and you've got some stuff left,
Yeah.
I would throw that in like the tree clump, and then I would
Hmm.
put wolf snares in every opening. I call it a gang set, and every
Okay.
opening, so like a dozen or more snares in every opening around that tree
Huh.
group, and then I just a lot of times put a box in the middle of that too.
Okay.
So if they somehow made it by the snares, and I'd catch them in the box, but usually like the first one I caught, that's another why it's cool that the one I actually kept.
Hmm.
It I think I had that's when I was still using footholds too. I kind of just
Hmm.
gave up on footholds down in that windy country.
Okay.
But at that point I had some, and it like set off a foothold, and yeah, it did, because it's even missing a couple toes. So yeah, it set off one of my footholds, but got out, and then it knocked down one of the snares that was kind
Hmm.
of beside that, went in and like ate some of the food, and was going out the backside, and got caught in my
Okay.
snare going out the backside of the
Huh.
little tree group, and it rolled, and it tried hard to get out. Like that was a wolf snare, and there was like 3 little strands of like cable that were still holding. It was dead when I got there,
Wow.
but like it wasn't far for, I don't know if it chewed on it or just like almost broke it or what. Like I wasn't
Whoa.
far from
From
getting out. So
breaking the
yeah,
cable.
it ruined like that snare, and I think another one I got tangled up in, and bent all the wire sets. So it wrecked like 2 or 3 snares, and it's missing a
Yeah.
couple toes.
What an animal. That's
Yeah,
cool.
they're vicious. Yeah.
Cool. Well, appreciate you making time. I know it's probably not convenient for you, but I know you've got so many stories, and I was really glad you were up to talking for a little bit. So thanks for making time to sit down with me.
Yeah, happy to do it. We'll have to catch up again sometime.
Thanks for listening to the Arctic Archives. If you enjoyed this episode, a rating or review helps the show reach more people. And if you have a story of your own you'd like to share, I'd love to hear it. You can reach me by emailing contact@arcticarchivespodcast.com. Until next time.